Hi guys, today I'm going to be reading and working with a really awesome book. This book is titled Armando and the Blue Tarp School. This is the last book I started with my students that I wasn't able to finish with them, and now I'm really sad that I didn't take the time to finish that with them before we left. But if any of my kiddos are watching, we get to finish it now. And if you're not one of my kiddos, then we get to enjoy it together, which will be wonderful. Something that's really cool that I really love about this book is that it has lots of fun new words in it. And unfortunately, I don't have some of my Hispanic students with me to help me pronounce these words appropriately. So I'm going to do my best, but something that I really enjoy doing in our class is asking some of my kids who didn't just speak English, but also spoke Spanish to help us out with these fun new words. So today we're going to be looking at lots of new language that we get to learn as we read this book. And something else that really excites me about this book is it's about these students who get together with a teacher and they get to learn in very odd circumstances. It's a different situation than what you and I usually have for our learning. Oftentimes we are in a school building, and right now we don't get to be in our school building together. We're in our homes learning with our families, which really is wonderful and unique and a great opportunity. You can learn so many things just with your family. And that's what these kids and this teacher, it's what they did. They took advantage of their opportunity to learn and grow in unique ways, even though they weren't together in a school building. So this book is Armando and the Blue Tarp School. Right? As I read, I'm going to be noting some new interesting words, and I want us to practice the skill of retelling, and using a summarizing strategy to help us retell this story. So after we read this story together, we're going to practice recounting stories, including fables and folk tales from diverse cultures, and determine their central message, lesson, or moral. So I've circled some great words inside of our standard, our goal, something that we want to use as we learn. The first word I circled was the word recount. Our goal is to be able to recount stories. But whenever I have the word recount, it is very similar to the word recall or retell. And all of those have something in common. They all have the prefix re. Re means again. So as we read this story, we want to have on our thinking caps so that we can tell this story again and share what we've enjoyed from it with other people. Something else that we want to be able to say at the end of this is we want to be able to say that we are able to not just recount stories that are familiar to us, but to be able to recount stories from diverse cultures. I circled this word diverse because it is also an awesome, fun word. Diverse means different or a variety. This book has a very different culture from what many of you know. It looks very different in their village, in their neighborhood, from what we see day to day. And then finally, I've circled the word determine. And determine means to decide or figure out. As we read this story, we want to decide or figure out what lesson did the author want us to know, or what was the moral or the central message. All right, what was the author's purpose in giving us this awesome book? All right, we're going to use somebody wanted, but so then this somebody is the who or the main character. wanted? What was their biggest desire? They may have wanted lots of different things, but throughout the story, what was their biggest desire? But what was their biggest challenge? What was the problem that they faced? We face lots of problems, and there might be lots of little problems throughout this story, just like we face lots of little problems throughout the day. But in this story, what was the biggest problem that the main character had to overcome? So is the part where we want to think about what was the solution? What was done to solve this problem? Then, all right, what resulted after the problem was solved? Pardon me, what happened afterwards? Some tools that I'm going to use for this lesson that you can use, but you do not have to. I'm going to have my notebook, my composition journal, which my kiddos are going to have. You'll want the next clean page. In fact, you'll want the next 3 clean pages. We're going to use 3 pages for 3 different activities. However, if you don't have this notebook, you can just use a piece of paper. And if you don't have a piece of paper, that's all right. You can just watch and enjoy this with us. Some other materials that I will be using are going to be markers or some sort of writing utensil. It does not need to be markers. It does not have to be crayons. Something to write with, a pencil, whatever's going to help you really be engaged and want to enjoy this lesson with me. And then something else that I'll be using is sticky notes. Now, not everyone has sticky notes, and that is A-okay. I will be using 5 sticky notes if you happen to have them, and if mom or dad say it's okay to use them, but really it is not necessary, it's not required, you do not have to have it, all right? You can just use that piece of paper, or again, like I said, you can just watch and listen and enjoy this with us. All right, so I'm going to switch over to another chart that I have. Let's see if I can get it set up where you can see it clearly. All right, and what you can see is I've created a chart. Now, I want you to focus first just on the top. All right, I got a lot of stuff written. You don't have to worry about writing all of that. But on the next clean page in my journal, I have made a chart myself. And you can make this chart too. Now what you'll see at the top is I've written this heading, Fun New Words. And then on the next line, I've written the title of our book. The title of our book, you can use it yourself, is Armando and the Blue Tarp School. If you would like to pause this or go back and look at the sections so that you can spell these words correctly, you can do that. I've put first the heading, Fun New Words, because we're going to be learning lots of fun new words in this text. And then the title of our book is Armando and the Blue Tarp School. Then what you'll notice that I've done is underneath my heading, underneath the title I've written on my new clean page, I've traced the line all the way across. And you can do the same. You can trace the line all the way across. Just worry about that first bit. All right? And then here's what I did next. I took my paper after I've written that, and I fold it in half, watch. So I'm going to take the long side of my page and I'm going to turn it in gently, gently until it matches up with the long side, the crease inside of my book. And I'm going to press it hard, flat to get a nice clean crease. All right. And then whenever I unfold my paper is in half. I have 2 equal parts, and I get to use those 2 equal parts to make a neat chart. So look to see what I did next. Next, After I folded it in half, I traced the line underneath this top trace line. I traced it, my crease all the way down the center. And you can do the same as well. Right underneath the T that I've created, I wrote the word word. Because this side of my chart is going to be my fun new words. And then on this side, I wrote the word meaning. Meaning, because on this side, it's going to be what each word means. So if I do this, that might help you a little bit to focus on the next piece of our chart. So far, this is all you should have. You should have. In fact, let me do this to help you out a little bit. Right now, your chart on your paper should look something like this. Fun new words, Armando and the Blue Tarp School, a line all the way across, word, meaning, a line all the way down, and then again you can trace the line underneath word and meaning all the way across. And now we have a chart that we can fill out as we read and find fun new words. Awesome. Are we ready for our read? I am. Okay. Armando and the Blue Tarp School. This is by Edith Hope Fine and Judith Pinkerton Josephson. The illustrator was Hernan Sosa. Looks like several people worked together to create this book. All day, Armando and Papa had worked at the dump, picking through trash. Now they trudged down the rocky hillside. Afternoon sunlight shone on broken glass, rickety fences, and tumble-down houses in their colonia, their neighborhood. Ba-beep, ba-beep, a truck horn blared from below. Armando pointed. Mira, look, Papa, it's Señor David from last summer. Papa was silent for a moment. Then he said, you can go, just this once. Armando hurried down the gravelly path to tell his friend Isabella the news. Off they ran, down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, and past the big rock. I don't know if you noticed, but I heard some really interesting, really fun new words. The first word that I heard that was new to me, and may not have been new to you, but it was new to me, was the word colonia. Colonia. And whenever I read the text and see what colonia means, the text gives me more information, and I can also look in the picture to help get more information as well. I'm going to reread the part with that fun new word. Let's see. Here it is. Now they trudged down the rocky hillside. Afternoon sunlight shone on broken glass, rickety fences, and tumble-down houses in their colonia, their neighborhood. When I continued to read the sentence, it gave me more information about what that word meant. Sometimes when you reread a sentence and you think about what's around the word in the sentence, it gives you more information so you can understand the word. So the first word I'm going to add to my list is this word, colonia. Colonia. And colonia, the meaning of the word is neighborhood. That is a fun new word. There was another fun new word that I came across while I was reading. It was when Armando was talking to his papa. He said, Armando pointed. Mira, look, Papa, it's Señor David from last summer. Listen. Mira, look, Papa. Ooh. The word mira means to watch or to look. And in my fun new word column, I added the word mira, and it means watch or look. Let me see. Yes, I wrote on the side how to pronounce some of these words, so I can do my best at how to pronounce them. Something interesting that I've noticed so far in our book is that Armando and his papa live in a very different kind of neighborhood. Their colonia is very different from mine. Listen how it describes it. The sunlight shone on broken glass. There's broken glass everywhere. Rickety fences that were not very sturdy or strong, and tumble-down houses. Tumble down, tumble down. What's it mean for something to tumble? What's it mean for something to tumble down? I think, based on the information in the text, based on what I know about tumbling and for something to tumble down, I think it means that these houses don't stand very strong, maybe. Maybe they're from odd materials and aren't as sturdy as my house and your house. Something else I really noticed that was interesting about the text was that Armando and Papa had worked at the dump, picking through trash. I wonder, do you work in a dump yard? Do you pick through trash? I wonder why Armando and Papa work in a dump yard and pick through trash. Let's keep reading to see if we can find out. Señor David, you're back, said Armando. My friends, mi amigos, I've missed you, said Señor David, spreading a big tarp on the ground. Your school, Armando said. I remember. The first time Señor David called his blue tarp a school, Armando hadn't understood. He thought schools had walls, floors, and roofs. But Señor David said a school could be anywhere, even on a tarp in a colonia. Ready to learn more? Asked Señor David. Sí, the children shouted. Yes. Señor David. Señor. That's a fun new word. Señor David. I bet. Did I not add this? Yes, here it is. Señor. You know what else is fun about this word? I don't know if you can see very well. But above the N is something called an accent. It's a type of accent. All right, it tells you how to say that letter. And sometimes we pronounce letters differently based on what it looks like in the word. And here we have an accent over this N. It's sort of like a sideways S. Señor, if I were to talk to one of my teachers, I wouldn't call him Señor David. I would call him Mr. David because Señor means Mr. or Sir. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Another fun new phrase that I read was, my friends, mi amigos, I've missed you. My friends, mi amigos, I've missed you. Mi amigos, my friends. The new word, our fun new word, is mi amigos, and it means my friends. That's fun. And then the last fun new word that I heard as I was reading was in the very last line. I'll show it to you. See if you can see very clearly. Oh, there it is. It says, "See," the children shouted. Yes. When I read that sentence, "See," the children shouted. Yes. And I continue to read this sentence, it gives me more information so I can better understand the words. See means yes. You can add this to your chart as well if you're keeping one. And anytime you need to pause to take your time as you record, you can do that. Let's keep reading. Their school is on a blue tarp. Where's your school right now? It's not in a school building. Might be in your bedroom. Might be at the kitchen table. Theirs is on a blue tarp. Nearby, scrawny chickens pecked at the dirt. Hen, said Senor David. He flapped his arms. Bark, bark, bark. La gallina. Hen, said the children. They flapped their arms too. Bark, 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 bark. On his chalkboard, Senor David wrote the letters of the alphabet. The children called out the letters in Spanish and English, then practiced words they had learned last year. House, la casa. Let's see. El muchacho, boy. La muchacha, girl. Very good. Muy bien, said Senor David. We'll work hard this summer, but we'll have fun too. Armando couldn't wait. This is silly. Look at him flapping his arms. I see the alphabet on the chalkboard. I remember the text told us that they said their alphabet both in Spanish and in English. How wonderful. Now, as I was reading, excuse me, I remember some fun new words, especially this one right here. Let me look at how to pronounce it again. La gallina. La gallina. Hen. That is a fun word. It's fun to say. And he was being silly when he was flapping his wings. Hen. La gallina. Very interesting. Another fun new word that they introduced was la casa. La casa. I'm going to reread the text and see if you can tell what la casa means without looking. It says, they practiced the words they had learned last year. House, la casa. Boy, el muchacho. Girl, la muchacha. I think that was kind of easy. It told us right after. We didn't actually have to use much thinking. It really told us what each word meant. It said la casa, house. El muchacho, boy. La muchacha, girl. And then at the very end, whenever Senor David responded to their practicing their words from last year, this is what he said. Listen. Very good. Muy bien, said Senor David. We'll work hard this summer, but we'll have fun too. The fun new word that I heard was muy bien. It means very good. Listen to what he says. Very good, muy bien, said Senor David. We'll work hard this summer, but we'll have fun too. Let's see if I can show you. Might not be super clear, but right here, he says, very good, muy bien, said Senor David. It also has it in quotation marks. These 2 marks on either side. So that also lets me know that he's talking in addition to the fact that it said Senor David. Very good. You can add muy bien, very good, to your list if you haven't already. Pause if you need to. So they're learning on the blue tarp. I'm going to keep reading to see what happens next. That night, Armando ate slowly. At last, he asked if he could go to school on Senor David's blue tarp. Papa frowned. Do not fill your head with dreams of school. I went last year, said Armando. You are older now, said Papa. I wish things could be different, but we are pepinadores. We are pepinadores, trash pickers. You must do the work of our family. That's interesting. Pepinadores, trash pickers. That's what their family does. They pick trash. Mama added, your sisters are small. I need to stay here with them. The money you and Papa earn helps us live. The money you and Papa earn. So first the author tells us that they're pepinadores, they're trash pickers. And then Mama says that they earn money. That must be what they do to earn money. Tears stung Armando's eyes. More than anything, he wanted to learn. But he knew Papa and Mama were right. Later, Armando sat on his thin mattress. With a stubby pencil, he sketched a picture of Senor David's truck. There's Papa. Look at Papa's face. And look at Armando's face. I don't think they look very happy or excited. I think Papa looks frustrated maybe. And then Armando looks disappointed or discouraged. How very interesting. If you haven't already, one word that we learned was los pepinadores. Los pepinadores. And then the text said, we are pepinadores, trash pickers. You must do the work of our family. So we know that los pepinadores is trash pickers. That's what that word means. I'm going to keep reading. There he is, behind the picture of his bed. Look what's underneath his bed. I don't think that looks very comfortable. I wonder why they would have a tumble-down house, why he would have cement blocks under his bed, a candle instead of a light, or a light bulb rather, why they would pick trash to make money. Do you think that they have a lot of money? Do you think that they are very wealthy? Or do you think that maybe they have such a rough life that they have to do really hard work, really hard work that might be dirty, picking trash in a dump to make money? And think about it. Armando, does he look very old? Or does he look like a little boy? But he has to stay home from school to make money, to work for the family. I don't think that they have very much money, since he has to stay home from school to work and make money. And since they don't have a very comfortable bed or electricity even, and they have a tumble-down house with broken glass everywhere. It's a very different culture from ours, very different way of life from ours. All right, here we go. I'm going to learn some more. As Papa and Armando neared the dump the next morning, The foul smell grew stronger and stronger. Rumbling trash trucks backed up. Eep, eep, eep. Out tumbled heaps of garbage. Workers rushed forward to tear up boxes and rip open plastic bags. Flocks of squawking seagulls circled above, fighting over bits of rotting food. Armando searched for bottles and cans, clothes and toys, some to sell, some to use. In one tattered bag he found shiny buttons and silvery thread. From another he pulled a smudged notebook and a dented tin of paints. These he kept. Armando mopped his sweaty face and swatted at buzzing flies. What was Señor David teaching now? He wondered. Beep, beep, beep. Backing up, and you can see the men tearing out the trash. They're trash pickers. Here he's found a dented tin of paints and a smudged notebook in his hand right here. You can see, and he keeps these. They are precious to him. And there's Papa. He's working hard as well. All right, let's keep reading. By the time Armando and Papa headed for home, the sun had dipped low, painting the sky red. Hearing the gate squeak, Isabella raced over to share what she had learned at school. Words covered her paper. All right, had to write it over here. La rana, she said, is frog. We hopped with Señor David. We said, crua, crua, and ribbit, ribbit. Armando's shoulders dropped. I wish I could go with you. I know, said Isabella, but I'll bring you new words. I promise. After Isabella left, Armando copied her words into his notebook. Then he made a picture for each one. Before he went to sleep, he put his notebook and paints with the other treasures on the ledge above his bed. So that's very interesting. Not only do they have a different word for frog, la rana, but whenever they make the frog noise, or whenever this culture makes the frog noise, they don't say ribbit, ribbit. In English, we might say ribbit, ribbit, but they say crua, crua, and that's how they represent the sound that frogs make. How cool! Crua, crua, ribbit, ribbit, or the sound that frogs make. I think Armando is disappointed when the text says, Armando's shoulders drooped. I wish I could go with you. The fact that his shoulders drooped and the fact that he said, I wish I could go with you, makes me think that he does not enjoy picking trash, but would rather go to school with his sister Isabella. Isabella is very sweet to share the words and pictures with him. Every day, Armando worked at the dump, and every day he longed to be sitting on the blue tarp. One evening, Papa said, people are talking about Señor David's school. Armando's stomach flip-flopped inside him. Felt nervous. We have always been pepinadoras. Papa went on. But learning is important. It could help you find different work when you grow up. Maybe in the city. So Mama and I decided, you may leave the dump early for school. Ooh, I wonder how that made him feel. But the money, said Armando. Somehow we will manage. Gracias, Papa. Thank you. Armando hurried outside to tell Isabella. They whooped with joy. Gracias. Gracias, Papa. I wonder what you would say if someone did something kind for you, like Papa did for Armando. He said that we will work hard and we will manage to make things work out so that you can leave the dump early, leave work early, and go to school to learn. Gracias, Papa. I bet if someone said or did something kind for you, you would say thank you. Looks like I didn't add the word to this list. So I didn't have enough room to add all the words, but gracias is a word that you could add. Show it to you. A little bit blurry. Here it is. Gracias, Papa. Thank you. You would say thank you. Gracias means thank you. Did I show you the picture? He wants to support his son and help him to grow. From then on, Armando worked mornings with Papa. Each afternoon, Armando and Isabella walked down the dirt road, across the wobbly plank, and past the big rock to Señor David's school. Sometimes the lessons were easy, sometimes they were hard. But soon the children could write sentences and do numbers. They sang songs, played games, and drew pictures. Below a drawing of red flowers, Armando wrote, Las rosas huelen bien. Las rosas huelen bien. Roses smell nice. By a girl jumping rope, he wrote, Isabella salta. Isabella jumps. One day, a cow lumbered by. Hola, hola vaca, which means, hello cow. Hola vaca, said Armando. Moo, moo. Hello cow, said Señor David. Moo, moo. Cows give milk. La leche. Cows give milk, echoed the children. I have lots of words here. You see that they have some of their words written on the chalkboard, and their different cards have different words on them. Let's see, can you see the text very well? I don't think you can. So we have, let's see, salta, salta, which means jump. Let's see, we have vaca, which means cow. Hola is hello. Salta is jumps. Rosas is roses. Huelen is smell, and bien is nice. Lots of funny words. Another day, Armando sketched a fat pig snuffling through garbage. Great pig! Tremendo cerdo! said Señor David. Then Armando showed him a painting he had made of a tall man with brown hair and a mustache. On it he had written, Mi amigo, my friend. What do you think mi amigo means? Is that me? asked Señor David. Sí, said Armando. What does sí mean? Gracias, mi amigo, said Señor David. He shook Armando's hand. Week after week, Armando wrote, drew, and painted. Soon words, sentences, and bright pictures filled his notebook. There is painting. There's the pig. What was it? Tremendo cerdo. Tremendous pig, great pig. One night, the smell of smoke jolted Armando awake. Winds howled, wood crackled. Fuego, fuego, people shouted. Fire, fire! Mama and Papa gathered the children and ran from the house. Flames roared through the colonia. Papa rushed to help. Men slapped at the fire with wet blankets. They threw buckets of water. Safe on the hillside, Mama hugged the children close. Heart thudding, Armando watched as a wall of greedy flames swallowed up his house. At dawn, hot ashes smoldered. Many houses had burned. Armando stared at the patch of ground where his family's home had stood. Nothing was left. Señor David put his hand on Armando's shoulder. Your words and drawings? Toda está perdido, Armando said in a small, sad voice. All gone. I'm sorry. Lo siento, said Señor David. There was the fire. What did he call it? A wall of greedy flames swallowing up his house. Wow. They lost everything. They lost everything. Two days later, the scent of smoke still hung in the air. Señor David and the children gathered on his blue tarp. What a hard time for you, mi amigos, he said. No lessons today. Let's just draw. Armando colored orange and red flames, black smoke, and frightened faces. As the children worked, a car drove up. Please welcome our visitors, Señor David said. They're writing a story about the fire and our school for the city newspaper. The photographer snapped pictures. The reporter scribbled notes. When she spotted Armando's drawings, she asked to borrow it. Armando wondered why. He glanced at Señor David. Go ahead, Armando, he said. It's okay. There's their blue tarp school. The reporter is asking to see his picture. And we can see in the background the ruin of their colonia. The next day, Señor David held up a newspaper. Look, mira, he said. Armando's eyes grew wide. On the front page was his drawing of the fiery night, his picture for everyone to see. The children cheered. Armando grinned. Señor David gave him a copy of the paper to show Mama and Papa. Later that week came another surprise. When a kind woman in the city saw Armando's painting and read the story, she sent money to build a school. Where? Asked Armando. Right where our blue tarp school has been, said Señor David. Armando closed his eyes, imagining how the school would look. I'll show you the picture. Over the next weeks, Señor David and Papa built a new house for Armando's family from fence boards, chicken wire, and old garage doors. They helped other families rebuild too. A tumble-down house. Very interesting, the materials that they've used to build their house. Fence boards, chicken wire, and old garage doors. Is that like your home? It's different from mine. Whenever people could, they worked on the school. They mixed cement and smoothed out a floor. They sawed wood and pounded nails to build 4 walls and a sturdy roof. Light poured in where the windows would go. At last, The school was finished. The children crowded inside, chattering and pointing. They darted from benches to tables to books with colorful pictures. Isabella ran her fingers over the braided blue rug. "It's like our blue tarp," she said. Then Armando spotted a wooden easel spattered with paint. "Your papa brought that," said Señor David. Armando's eyes sparkled. Papa wanted him here, learning and painting. Ever since the first beep of Señor David's truck horn, Armando had longed for such a place to learn, a place to grow, a place for friends. Armando flung his arms wide. Words tumbled out. "I am happy from here to the sky." There's their new school. And on the board, here I see the easel splattered with paint. Here it is. On the board, I see welcome and a fun new word, bienvenidos. I am happy from here to the sky. Very good. So, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to turn the page for our next clean page because we're done with our chart of fun new words. And now we're going to practice again using our somebody wanted but so then, so that we can recount this story, which is from a diverse or different culture. And we want to determine what's the central message. All right. So if you have those sticky notes, now's the time to use them. But if you do not, that's okay because we can still use whatever materials we do have, or we can just watch with Miss Haynes. So I've taken 5 sticky notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've put them on the next clean page, just to make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun. On the first one, I wrote somebody wanted, but, so, then. And we're going to use these to record what we think. We're going to record how we would retell the story. Who is the main character? What did they want? What was the problem? The solution? And how did the author wrap it all up? So first we have somebody. The somebody is the most important who of the story, the main character. So I want you to think, with your thinking cap on. Who do we suppose the most important character of the story was? You can record on somebody who you think the most important character was. If you need to pause, why don't you do that? It's okay if you don't know how to spell the word. You can sound it out, or you can use whatever resources you have from earlier in the video or what you've written down on the previous page. I'm now going to tell you what I recorded. For somebody, I said that the most important character was Armando. That's our somebody. All right. What did that somebody want? Wanted. The main thing this character desired. What would you suppose was the main thing Armando, the main character, decided? And you can pause, and on wanted, you can write, what did that character want? What was the main thing, the biggest thing Armando desired? I'm going to go ahead and share you what I recorded. Armando wanted to go to school to learn. Throughout the book, we saw that Armando definitely had a strong desire to go to school. He wanted to go to the Blue Tarp School, even if it wasn't a building, even if it wasn't super fancy and it didn't have walls or a roof or floors. It was just a blue tarp. He still wanted to go to whatever school he had to learn and to grow. Our next sticky note is going to be used for but. Dun, dun, dun. The biggest problem encountered by the main character. The biggest problem encountered by the main character. So for your next sticky note, you can record what was the problem. You can pause now and record that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share with you what I recorded as the biggest problem. I said, Armando wanted to go to school to learn, but his family was too poor and their village caught on fire. There were kind of two big problems there. His family and even his village was too poor to have a really nice school, and many of the children weren't able to go to school. And then later on in the story, we saw that this poor family lost everything to a fire. So is the solution, all right? Did Armando do something in particular, or did a different character do something to help solve the problem? Remember, the problem was that his family was too poor and their village caught on fire. Their village caught on fire. What happened to solve the problem when their village caught on fire and they did not have a school anymore? So, what the character did or what happened to solve the problem. You can pause now to record. I'm going to go ahead and share you what I've recorded as the solution. I said, a reporter published them in the news and someone sent money to build a school. So, Armando wanted to go to school to learn, but his family was too poor and their village caught on fire. So, a reporter published them in the news, and someone sent money to build a school. All right, our last piece. Then, what resulted or what happened after the solution? The solution was that they were reported in the news, and someone sent money to help them out. Then, Armando was able to enjoy learning and painting in their new school. That's how the author wrapped up the story, that they were able to enjoy their new school, and Armando himself was in particular able to enjoy those things because he was the main character, and that's what he wanted. So eventually he did get what he wanted. Awesome, guys. Somebody wanted but so then. So we've recalled and retold the story from a diverse culture very different from our own, and we've determined, or we haven't determined, what was the central message or moral about this story. Well, what would you think the author wanted us to know, right? Was there something that the author wanted us to learn? Was there something that we could have gotten from this story? Maybe something about the main character. What did we learn about him? You could take a moment and have a conversation with a parent or a sibling, a neighbor, someone around you, and discuss this story. What was unique about this story? What was different from your life and Armando's life? And what do you think the author, why would they have wanted to share this story with you? That'd be a good thing to have a conversation about. So for this next part, I'm going to give you an example, and then I'm going to release you, and you can practice this on your own. I don't want you to copy my writing because that's not actually learning, but I am going to share with you what I've written. So after you read a story, it's always great to write about it, to put your thoughts on the paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my sticky notes, my somebody wanted but so then, to record a paragraph about what happened in this story, to retell from my readers, to sort of do a book sell. We do that in our classroom where we read a book and then we talk about it with a neighbor so they can understand what we read and convince them about our opinion of it. Did we think it was a good book? Did we think it was a poorly written book? What's something we might have changed? So when we write a paragraph, just a basic good structure for a paragraph, for our paragraph here, is going to be an introductory sentence where we introduce the topic. Sort of like when you introduce yourself to someone, you tell them a little bit about yourself. Not everything about you, just a little bit about you. Hi, my name is. Shake their hand. So that's what an introductory sentence does. It introduces your paragraph, what you are writing. It tells your readers what they're about to learn about. All right. Then we're going to use somebody wanted but so then for our detail sentences. That's the big chunk of the paragraph, the interesting bit. And then our conclusion sentence. Oftentimes you'll use words from the introductory sentence when you form your conclusion sentence. That's kind of a basic thing that you can do to help form a good paragraph. All right, introductory sentence, detail sentences, which we'll use somebody wanted but so then, and then a conclusion sentence. Here's what I've written. Armando and the Blue Tarp School was an interesting book. That is my introductory sentence. Here are my detail sentences. The main character was a young boy named Armando. That's somebody, who this somebody is. Armando wanted to go to school so that he could learn. Wanted. Unfortunately, his family was too poor for him to go to school. His neighborhood caught on fire and they lost their school materials. But that was the problem. So a reporter published their story in the news, and a kind lady sent them money for a new school. So then Armando was able to learn and paint and grow with friends in their new school. Then somebody wanted, but so then here's my conclusion sentence. This is why Armando and the Blue Tarp School was such an interesting book. What you can do now is you can use what you've recorded on your somebody wanted but so then, write a paragraph about what happened in this story with an introductory sentence, detail sentences, and a conclusion sentence. Remember, paragraphs begin with an indent, that's that finger space at the very beginning, and then all your lines want to line up straight against that red line in your book. All right, guys, that is the conclusion of what I have to share with you today. I hope you're able to enjoy this, whether it was just you kiddos, parents who are listening, or parents with their children. All right, go forth and study hard.